When you first encounter a narcissist, everything may appear perfect. They shower you with attention, admiration, and affection, making you feel as though you are the most important person in their world. At the beginning, this behavior feels validating and even enchanting. However, as time passes, small cracks start to appear in the illusion, and you may begin to notice that the person you're dealing with isn't as sincere as they initially seemed. If you've ever been involved with a narcissist, you are likely familiar with how they react when you try to leave. This response can be dramatic and often leave you confused, wondering, why can't they handle losing me? Let's dive deeper into this question and examine the complex psychology behind narcissistic behavior. Narcissists, by nature, are deeply self-centered individuals who struggle with genuine empathy. They have an inflated sense of self-worth and a constant need for external validation, which makes them especially fragile when faced with rejection, particularly from someone they value. However, it's not merely about their pride being wounded. When a narcissist loses someone, particularly someone they have been emotionally invested in, it triggers an existential crisis. The very things they rely on, admiration, control, and adoration, start to slip away, leaving them unable to cope with that loss. To fully understand why they react so intensely to being lost, we must delve into the psychological mechanisms at play. Narcissists often view relationships as transactions, serving primarily to boost their self-esteem and maintain the image they've carefully cultivated. They are skilled manipulators, using charm, deceit, and emotional tactics to secure their place in your life. In their minds, they aren't forming genuine connections. They are simply acquiring a source of validation. When you, the person who has been used as a mirror for their ego, choose to walk away, it's as if their world starts to collapse. The foundation of their self-worth, which relies heavily on external approval, begins to unravel. This is a significant reason why narcissists struggle so deeply when they lose someone. The narcissist's inability to handle rejection stems from their fragile self-esteem. Despite their outward display of confidence, their sense of self is precarious and dependent on the adoration of others. Losing someone they've been emotionally tied to represents a loss of control and a blow to their carefully constructed identity. Without that validation, they may feel lost and incomplete, triggering an overwhelming need to regain what they have lost. This intense reaction is often coupled with a sense of panic and desperation, leading them to react in extreme ways to try to regain their hold over you. One key element in understanding narcissistic behavior is their reliance on others to maintain their sense of self. Because they lack true self-worth, narcissists constantly seek out others to validate their identity. Relationships, for them, are not about genuine emotional connections. They are about bolstering their fragile ego. When you pull away, it's not simply the end of a relationship for them. It's the dismantling of their emotional safety net. The loss of your presence feels like the loss of their identity, and they may go to great lengths, including manipulation or guilt-tripping, to try to prevent that from happening. In conclusion, the narcissist's inability to handle losing someone is rooted in their deeply fragile sense of self and their need for external validation. Relationships, for them, are primarily a means of maintaining their self-image and boosting their ego. When they lose someone who serves as a source of admiration and validation, their whole world is disrupted. This emotional unraveling often leads to intense reactions, manipulation, and attempts to regain control. Understanding these psychological dynamics helps shed light on why narcissists struggle so much with loss and rejection. At the core of narcissistic behavior lies a deep fear of abandonment and rejection. This fear is rooted in their childhood experiences, where they may have been neglected, abused, or made to feel inadequate. Over time, they developed a defense mechanism, the creation of a grandiose self-image that protects them from the pain of feeling inferior or unworthy. When they lose someone, it threatens that carefully constructed facade, causing a crisis in their sense of identity. This fear of being exposed, vulnerable, and ultimately unimportant is what drives their extreme reactions. But narcissists aren't just afraid of being abandoned. They're terrified of losing control. Narcissists thrive on control, whether it's over their image, their environment, or the people around them. Relationships are a tool for them to assert dominance, and they invest a significant amount of time and energy into making sure they have the upper hand. Losing someone means losing that control, and that's something they simply can't tolerate. When you try to leave a narcissist, you may notice they engage in a series of behaviors designed to get you back. These may include love bombing, showering you with affection and praise, gaslighting, manipulating you into questioning your reality, or even outright threats. This isn't out of love or care for you. It's about regaining control. They want to prove to themselves that they still have power over you, that you're still invested in them, and that they haven't lost their place in your life. It's important to recognize that narcissists are not capable of true love or genuine emotional connection. Their relationships are built on a foundation of self-interest. When they lose you, it's not the loss of you as a person that they mourn. It's the loss of the validation, control, and status that came with having you in their life. In many cases, they may even move on to the next person quickly, not because they've forgotten about you, but because they need to replace you with someone else who will reaffirm their sense of superiority. The most perplexing part of this dynamic is how narcissists often react when they realize they can't win you back. Initially, they may try to appeal to your emotions, blaming you, guilt-tripping you, or making false promises. But when these tactics don't work, their true colors emerge. They may become angry, vindictive, or even hostile, trying to punish you for leaving them. This is because in their mind, they are entitled to your attention and admiration. And when that is taken away, they feel as if they've been wronged. In their view, you've betrayed them, and they'll do whatever it takes to make you regret it. So, why can't narcissists handle losing you? It all comes down to their fragile sense of self-worth, their need for control, and their fear of abandonment. Losing someone represents the collapse of their carefully constructed image and the threat of being exposed as weak, insecure, and unworthy. The emotional turmoil they experience when you leave is not about you at all. It's about the loss of their source of validation and the fear of being left with nothing but the emptiness they try so desperately to avoid. As we wrap up this discussion, it's important to remember that narcissists will never be able to handle genuine emotional intimacy because they lack the ability to connect with others on a deeper level. Their relationships are transactional, and they will always prioritize their own needs over yours. If you're dealing with a narcissist and considering walking away, remember that their reaction is not about you failing them. It's about them losing their grip on their image and the control they desperately cling to. Thank you so much for joining me in today's exploration of the narcissist's inability to handle losing someone. I hope this gives you more insight into the complexities of narcissistic behavior and why they react the way they do when faced with rejection. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing this information. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.